Why tie it to the book of Genesis?
All right. When I first read the Bible, the things that attracted me or impressed me was the prophetic value of Scripture. As a man, I wasn't as emotionally involved as, say, my wife would have been, because at that stage I wasn't sort of in love with Jesus. So I needed more sort of facts, if you like. And historically, I know you probably could argue the points about this, but there were prophecies in the Bible that actually were fulfilled.
Like what?
Well, just talking about the birth, for example, of Jesus, in the book of Micah, which was written apparently 500 years before Christ came, explaining that he'd be born in Ephratah, Bethlehem. And even Herod, who was definitely not a believer, asked his wise men to find out where it was and how it was and when it would be that this Messiah would come, because Herod actually...
But surely you know that the Gospels were written in the way they were in order to fulfill those Old Testament prophecies.
No, I know you would say that, Richard,
well,
but I
that's
don't
what
believe
New Testament scholars say.
I like you
but
to
in
say,
any
I'm
case,
not
it's nothing to
with
do
that.
with Genesis. I mean, you're talking about Micah now. Genesis...
Well, I could mention loads of... What about the Babylonian exile, Jeremiah, the prophet?
Look, that's not relevant to the book of Genesis, where you say, on the strength of the book of Genesis, you believe that the world is, what, only 6,000 years old, something like
Yes.
that? Yeah, okay. Now, that, as you know, flies in the face of all the scientific evidence. It flies in the face of all the bishops, all the archbishops, the cardinals, Pope.
Not
Why
all
would
of
you...
them, but some, yes,
well, most of them.
Yeah.
Why would you put your money on the book of Genesis? Nothing to do with Jeremiah, nothing to do with Micah, it's the book of Genesis. Why would you put your money on that when all the scientific evidence shows, and I mean not a little bit of evidence, but massive quantities of evidence show that the world is 4.5 billion years old? I mean, it's absolutely open and shut case. Look at the science. You can't deny it if you would only look at the science.
Okay, well, you asked me the question, why would I put my faith in Genesis? It is a difficult book, given that there is so much so-called evidence to the contrary, that, or what scientists are talking about as that, you know, the Earth is millions of years old, etc. But Jesus, and I do believe 100% that Jesus did walk this earth and did the things that he did, because there are more manuscripts written about the accounts of the
yes,
gospel.
Yes, but we're not talking Jesus, we're talking Genesis now.
Well,
so.
well, let me get there, Richard, please. Is that Jesus referred to Genesis, okay? And in there, he's not a liar, and he's a man or a being that I would trust. And he spoke about, in the beginning, you know, was Adam and Eve, for example. And he also talks about in Colossians that Jesus is the one who created all things, okay? So if Jesus is the one that I accept, then why should I deny the Genesis account? Because otherwise I'm saying Jesus is a liar.
Well, if you're tying Jesus to a belief that the world is only 6,000 years old, you're not doing Jesus any favors, because what you're in effect saying is that Jesus was anti-scientific, and I don't think Jesus would be very pleased about that. No doubt he was ignorant of science because he lived at a time when science was not developed. But if I were you, I would not tie Jesus, whom you love.
Jesus was not ignorant.
Well,
if you look at, and I was reading again this morning, some of the wisdom that he had, we could do with today for sure.
Well, I believe that may be true, but nevertheless, if I were you and you loved Jesus, I would not tie Jesus to the belief that the world is only 6,000 years old, because you're tying Jesus to an error, and you wouldn't wish to do that.